Okay, so I have removed the stones and I am going to start the removal of the acrylic, trying to preserve the actual tip, so hopefully that goes well. For this process, I'm going to be using my very trusty Koopa bits. This one right here is the safety bit, a carbide bit that I always use, and it's a safety bit because it has the cone rounded edge to protect around the cuticle. So I'm going to go ahead and start and do that and work around each and every nail, and then we'll move on to the next step where I will be using my regular round barrel carbide bit. So let me go ahead and start. Once I get to that point, I'm almost at over 90%, 95% of the actual acrylic gone. I'm going to just go in with my arbor band and I'm going to use that to remove whatever is left. Let me remove some of that excess dust first. And I like to do this because if I don't do that, if I don't remove the excess dust before actually pushing back the cuticles, what I'm going to be doing is basically pushing back cuticle or pushing back dust into the cuticle. And this part basically is fairly quick because it's not the same as when you're doing a fresh new set that you have to start from the beginning, but you still gotta be careful because some people grow a lot more cuticle than others, and I know I am one of those people. Like, I'm just gonna brush it down just like that. And this is, of course, if you want to. Not everybody likes to. I do. It's up to you. I do like to cut the excess. And then see this area right here. I don't know if you can see, but I know that's going to cause lifting. So you can either do it with your nail file, hand file, or nail file, electric nail file. I'm just going to do it because it was just a little bit. See, there, now it's gone in that way. Okay, so now I'm just going to reshape them because they do lose their shape. Okay, so there they go. They've been reshaped. And now I'm going to use this football bit that they call to kind of clean a little bit underneath my nails. Okay, so now my hands are nice and clean. Now I'm going to start prepping my nails. So what I do is dehydrate first after I removed all the dust. And this is a dehydrator. I no longer buy dehydrator. I think that's one of the most expensive, unnecessary things, but to each their own. I make my own, super easy. It's just on my nail bed, wherever there is actual nail bed, I will put the dehydrator, my homemade dehydrator. And as you can see, I do it in small batches because it can get contaminated. And by contaminated, I mean like dust and all that. And so when there's dust, that's also can be a cause for lifting. So that's one thing that I noticed, that my dehydrator was getting contaminated. And I mean, that was like a $8-10 bottle, whatever. And there was no point. So that way I make my own in small batches, and then when I see it's getting contaminated or it has particles, I'll just throw it away. Then is my protein bond. In this occasion, I'm using this one by Organic. Here for monomer, my monomer, I'm using organic. Like I said, I normally always put, ooh, I'm squirting it all over. Goodness gracious. That just hurts because that's like gold. That's literally liquid gold right there that I just spilled. Okay, so like I said, I always put a clear base of acrylic. So I'm going to do that now that I did my second coat. Let me get a little bit farther because then it turns out I'm out of frame all the time because I'm trying to get you guys a tight shot, but then it's worse because then you guys can't see anything of what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna get a thin, very small bead of acrylic, and that one's just to always goes on the bottom of my, basically on the natural nail. That's just like a given. It's just really thin. It's just to protect from color, decorations, and that helps me when removing or switching sets. That helps a lot. I'm going to be using this acrylic, which I love. I don't know if by this time I already done like a little haul video, and I've done some swatches, but it's called Mint Green, and isn't it beautiful? So I'm going to try, like I said, try to do a ombre with this. I am horrible at ombres, so let's see how it goes. It looks like a hot mess right now. Hopefully it won't be a hot mess. So for the top part, I'm going to be using cover salmon. So how do you refer to this? Because I hear people say bottom. I call it top when I'm referring to this area. I don't know. I always say things backwards. Anyways, I'm going to get some of this cover salmon, a rather large bead, and place it up here. It's always hard to record because I'm trying to do it right so that you guys can see, but I'm also trying to get it so that I don't have any lifting. But then I'm like, I don't know what's, I'd rather not have lifting. But then I'm also doing the video for you guys. So the whole point is for you guys to be able to see it. So it's like a predicament I'm in. For this next nail, I'm going to use this little mix that I made. So I'm sorry if you're not able to see, but I do feel like I have to give priority to my nail not lifting. Okay, so there goes that color that I made. And so now for this finger right here, I'm going to be using Mia Secret, which I love. And it's going to be this white, which I also love because, as you will see, it is super pigmented. Now I'm going to encapsulate this nail, the thumb, with this intense pink. I believe this one is from Nail Light. I could be wrong, but I think that's where it is. And just because I like it's still transparent, but it's gonna give it a nice little hue. A touch of color. And so the first bead that I put when working with Mylar is very, very wet bead, and this is just so that it can get between all the little nooks of the nail of the Mylar, because I want it to be completely encapsulated and I want it to protect the decoration. So the very first layer per se will be very wet, and that's what I want, so that it can get between, like I said, all the areas. And so I'm gonna turn it upside down like this, just so that it can also fill it as it dries, just like that. Okay, so I took him out of the lamp and I'm not done yet. So here you're gonna have a preview because you're gonna see me working with this other hand. But here is some chrome mirror powder from Madame Glam, and I'm going to be using this on this nail. This is how that color that I made turned out, which I loved. And by the way, for any of those mirror effect powders, you need to use like a tackless gel, and that one that I showed you earlier is perfect. And look at this, isn't it beautiful? I love it. It gives it that pearlescent, perfect sheen to it. And you're wondering the reason that I didn't do it on this, like I didn't put top coat on this one, even though it is because if any of this pearlescent powder does fall on this nail, I can easily just wipe it off. But if I add some of this, it's gonna actually stick to it, so that's why I didn't add to it. And if anything falls on this, that's okay, because you'll see what I'm gonna do right now. So that's why I didn't add any to it right now. So I just do this, make sure nicely covered, nice and pearlescent. Give it its glow, cover this before I spill it, because trust me, I've been there, done that, and then I've kicked myself for spilling it all. See, now I go over with this little brush and just clean up the edges and everything else. Just like that. And whatever's left over on the edges right over here, it'll just wash off once I seal it. So I'm gonna leave that there. Now I'm going to be working with some alcohol inks. Let me show you real quick. My battery is dying, so let me see if I can show you. But basically I'm just gonna put some dots and then dilute with alcohol. My battery is going to die any second, so you might not be able to see it. If not, let me know if you want to see how I actually work the alcohol ink, and I'll definitely show you. I'll show you the end result at the end of the video. I'm so sorry my battery is dying, but if you guys want to know, like I said, how it is that I work the alcohol ink, let me know, and I'll be more than glad to show you how to do it.